This interview is with Laura Ganon from Fink Mobility in Brazil. Just to let you know, as I always say, this was recorded on the 16th of April, so things may have changed. Back to our interviews with Euros members across the globe. It's a huge pleasure for me to introduce you today to Laura Ganon of Fink Mobility, based in Brazil. It's really lovely to see you. Thank you so much for doing this. It's a pleasure to be together again. Where are you based, and what is the situation right now for you?
Well, first of all, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to talk with you. I am based in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, and the situation here is under control so far. If you think about a population of 210 million people, we have about 28,000 cases confirmed of COVID-19 and about 700 deceased people from the virus. For such a huge population, I think one death is already a tragedy,
Sure.
but at least the government has reacted, and people, I cannot say that the majority of the people are respecting the guidelines announced by government, but we have a lot of people staying home. And the difference is huge. Government has published several new laws. We call them provisory measures in many aspects. First of all shops, all businesses are closed, except those considered as essential. The businesses that are considered essentials are basically health, pharmacies, food suppliers, and transportation. And that's the reason why we are Fink Mobility is among the businesses that are allowed to work. Because besides our DSP services, immigration services, we also do transportation for household goods, fine arts, so we can operate. We have several things that are suspended that make our life very difficult to render the services. Like immigration, everything is suspended.
Right.
So we cannot really do anything right now, but we can do the DSP services, although also a lot of property owners are not willing to show their properties. Many real estate companies are closed. But at the same time, of course, there's not a lot of customers right now asking us to do any service in terms of DSP or immigration. So this is one side. On the transportation side, of course, there's much, much less work to do, but there's still work. And many people that do need to have their goods, like importations arriving, it's also goods. Hotels are closed, so they do need their stuff.
Absolutely.
So we are working. So what we have done is that on February 26th or 27th, the first case in Brazil was announced. And funny enough, I have never, ever thought that one day in my life, I would use our contingency and business continuity plan. Really. You know, when you write this and you think
Yes.
about it and you think, oh, this is such a waste of time, you know?
I know.
So instead, I'm going to take a look, first case, I don't know. And then I made the decision, probably before a lot of other businesses, that from the first week of March, I decided everybody home,
Wow.
except some of the people of the transportation, like the packers, that needed to still be on the road. So very quickly we reacted. I immediately arranged transportation for the employees that would have to work like the packers, the blue collars that needed to go to Fink and go to the jobs, so they wouldn't take any public transportation. And then, of course, we bought masks and alcohol gel, and the cleaning services in the office, we made a different arrangement so that cleaning would be much stronger and, several times a day. And then we made procedures for cleaning of the trucks, and we arranged additional transportation so that the driver in the truck taking the packing material would not have somebody with him. And all the jobs that we would do with a crew of 5, let's say, we start doing with 2 or 3, so they would never be in the same room in the home. So we actually, from the contingency plan and business continuity plan that we had, the only thing that really worked or that we used was the home office work, because all the rest was really different. We never thought about a virus.
No, absolutely. And that's exactly that. I've talked to many people and many Euro members across the world. And, our continuity planning, we're all based on a flood or the power going out or, or being burgled. Never the shutdown that we're facing now. But that was really smart. I mean, you were way ahead of the curve doing that at the beginning of March. Well done.
Yeah, and actually, from about 2 years ago, with the GDPR in Europe,
yes.
I decided to invest heavily in IT because of data security. So we were totally ready with Microsoft 365. Everybody had their, I forget the name, there's this tool
accounts
from Microsoft for the VPN security. Yeah. So we were all ready, and we had people in the office working with laptops already, so they could be very mobile if needed. And the virtual surveys for the household goods, we have been doing that anyway for a long time, because some people ask, or people are living in the interior of the country, why waste their time and waste, be more expensive for them having to drive there.
Yeah.
So we were kind of prepared for something, not like that, but at least it was in 1 week, we had the totally new modus operandi that was working.
It's amazing. So, it is amazing. I mean, the adaptability of, of everyone.
Yeah, we found out that, the other thing is that, I'm always very cost conscious. And one thing that was making me crazy was the amount of money we were spending. So last year, I started a very big change of mindset to be paperless, which also was helped by our new management system that we started using. So we were basically already we had everything in the system. We were not using paper or folder or anything like that anymore. So that was also something that made it easy for us.
It's so interesting, again, when I've been talking to people all over the world, how, we've been saying that, we've all done these things voluntarily for various reasons, like you say, to save costs, to have a clean desk policy, to adhere to GDPR, all of those things. And, even 5 years ago, we would not have been able to do what we've done now, as an industry.
Absolutely.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
So again, one of the challenges, I guess, for Brazil, it's such a vast country with a huge population. Just tell me, and the people who are listening, what your 2 main populations are: Sao Paulo and Rio. Would that be correct? The 2 major cities?
Sao Paulo, Rio, and Brasilia, because of the embassies.
Of course, yeah, and the government. And at the moment, you're saying that there are restrictions in place. Enforcing them is a challenge.
Yeah. The measures taken by government were with 2 focus. Number 1, try to have the curve, hold the curve, so that hospitals would be able to take the people that really need it, and also try to keep employment.
Yeah.
So in the first first focus, that is health, it's very difficult because, first of all, what they did, close down everything that is not essential and try to massively ask people to stay home, stay home, stay home. But many people have to go to work and they use public transportation. So they put a lot of rules, like in the lines for public transportation, people have to stay 1.5 meters. Forget it.
Yeah.
They don't do it.
No.
In the beginning, government was saying, don't use masks. You're not supposed to use masks. But that was because there was not enough production for the people
for the healthcare
in the
workers.
hospitals.
Exactly. Yeah.
So people could not buy enough masks anyway. And the other thing is that people are going to the beach. People are, it's unbelievable. A lot of people, very well educated, they don't care. And the other people, they need to survive. The people who really need to work. Yeah. And then government recently put another measure in place that was essential services that have to operate, they started to make different time. So like food places could not open before 9.
Oh, okay.
But hospitals, 24 hours. And things like that to try to escalate the people taking the public transportation. But most of the established are not respecting that either. So I don't know how we still have only 28,000 in view of the situation, because we do see a lot of people not respecting. When I watch the news in the morning, I see it's unbelievable.
I've stopped watching the news in the morning. I have to steel myself through the day and watch it in the evening. It's very, very interesting. I was just talking with our board, and I have an interview scheduled tomorrow with also Laura Ganon in Stockholm, because Sweden has been, I'm sure you know, the only country that has very, very minimal restrictions in place. And it'll be very interesting to see, like you say, here in the UK, we've had very strict restrictions, but still people are on the tube. Still people over Easter, they were very worried about people going to the beach. The weather was beautiful, staying in the parks. So it's so interesting how different cultures are adopting this in different ways. That fascinates me. So tell me, you were fantastically ahead of the curve getting your teams all remote working. How are they coping? How are they in their spirits?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's really surprising. Two things I realized. One, the capacity of people to change and continue like nothing had happened. And also how they love to go to the office.
Yeah.
Because I the first thing I did was to establish conference calls with the teams and, on scheduled timing, so that we would all discuss together everything and have this human touch, which is being very important. And it's funny because in the beginning, hey, it was great, it was fine. Oh, we're talking more together than when we are in the office, and it's an open office, but we are, not really stopping to have a conversation. But now, after a month and a half, they are, oh, Laura, I miss the office so much. It's so good when we are everybody together there. So what I do once a week, I send a message, either a WhatsApp video to all the employees or an email to everybody, with a motivational message, with a thank you note, because also those who agree to go on vacation, because government put several measures. And one of them to keep employment. Well, they postpone taxes, some of the taxes, things like this. But one of the things is that you can suspend a contract with an employee without pay, or you can make a payable absence for 90 days, for instance, and then compensate later with future vacations, or you can anticipate vacation. So what I did was really put the workforce to a minimum and anticipate vacation to everybody that would not have enough to do. And these people are eager to go back to work because,
of course. Yeah,
absolutely. Confinement may be tough on many people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very interesting because, again, I mean, a couple of people I've spoken to have said the same thing about, where the federal assistance is more limited, that actually pushing the vacations to now makes perfect sense. I mean, we are all hoping that, this is not going to last for too long. And when things do start up again, you are going to be very busy and you don't want your teams on holiday. Right, I know.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I really, really, really pray for. Same. I do think that it will take a while for companies to really. I don't believe in this repressed demand that suddenly will explode, because I think that you may have that for some core business of multinationals that need to do that investment, or the investment is already on the way and they need to have the key people there. Private people in our that want to move to be, I want to go back to England because my family is there and I need relocation services and immigration services, whatever, departure services. But I don't think it's going to be an explosion of services. So my plan, my strategy actually is to invest in a lot of training this year to make sure that I keep the people and have enough service for them to work, but with a free time, let's say, during the day for them to do online training. Yeah. So I have already researched a lot of trainings, and when the time is right and people are back from vacation's finished, and the work is still not there, let them evolve as professionals.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've seen that with this program, with the MIM program, because that's now completely free for everyone to certify, which is great. The take up has been huge, and people just we all want something to do. We need a purpose every day, right? I found an amazing website. I'm putting them on our LinkedIn when I find them, but there's one called Future Learn, which is amazing. But the one that I found this week was called open.edu, and it's a British university called the Open University, and you can sign up for it, I think, from anywhere in the world. And I decided I'm going to get my Spanish back to good standard before Seville next year. So,
but please, I don't want to interrupt or write that down, but I want to. Please.
I will email you.
Open.edu.
Open.edu. Okay. Yeah, I'll put it all on LinkedIn, and I'll put it in a bulletin as well, because there's just so many resources now. It's amazing. You talked a little bit about federal help. I'm assuming at the moment it's fairly basic, and it's about pushing debt further down the line. Is that what the government's thinking?
Yeah, it's very basic. We have some federal taxes that you pay every month over your billing. Yeah. And what they did is that for 90 days, March, April, May, we only have to pay, we have to declare, but we only have to pay in August, September, October. Okay. Not much, because we don't have too much billing anyway. Sure. I mean everybody, except obviously supermarkets and health services. They have also given a very, very, very tiny little help in money for the people who have their. They have allowed companies to make a collective agreement whereby people who earn up to a certain amount can have their work time reduced with the equivalent reduction in salary. And that government will make a percentual of the difference of compensation, but
Right.
very little.
But it's going to be fairly minimal. Yeah. It's so interesting. Again, that I was talking to Cynthia Mearns yesterday, who's at relocation.no in Norway, based in Stavanger, and she was saying because of the oil wealth of Norway, that they can literally fund this for ages. And something like 100,000 euros per person in the population they've got sitting in the bank. They're the only country in the world, I think, that can do that, right? That is very interesting. So just tell me, before we were talking last week and today, you've got quite a house full of people, right?
Yes, we do. And we have created really a wonderful sharing of all the responsibilities and a routine. So my son-in-law is an athlete. He's a swimmer. He swam the Olympic Games in Rio, and he was going to Tokyo to swim to represent Brazil for the Olympics, but unfortunately, maybe next year. Yeah. But anyway, so every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, early morning, he coaches us a physical training.
Brilliant.
Because we had to stop going to the gym academy.
Yeah.
So lunch and dinner is either himself or my husband. They are the chefs of the house. So we share the cleaning. I take care of all the clothes for everybody. And this is always from 5 to 7 a.m. in the morning.
You're right. And you have your baby granddaughter with you right now, right?
And then my daughter has a full-time job with her baby. She's not even 2 months old, so it's a full-time job, definitely.
Really?
But very happy, honestly. I feel guilty even because, everybody, so many people suffering, but I'm a very optimistic and positive person, and we try to do our best. So I try to think in the positive. I was supposed to be in Japan right now, but I'm here with my daughter, with my family, with my granddaughter. So the other thing that I found, I thought since I'm in my early 20s, I work internationally. So I have always traveled 6-7 times per year everywhere. And I've never been at home for so long, and I don't miss traveling. So good to be home.
It's very strange. I've been saying for the last few years, both to our board and to Tad, we need to, draw back a bit on the travel because we're traveling a lot. And now I'm sort of thinking I really should have been careful what I was wishing for, because I'd do anything to be in an airport lounge right now about to get on a plane, but never mind.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm going to miss. I'm pretty sure in a few weeks or months I'll be missing being away.
I know, to be honest with you, I'm the same. But it's funny, you're right. We have to think of the blessings that we have. I'm so pleased that you're all together as a family. That's lovely. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. To feel the spirit of your optimism is really lovely. And thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Let's catch up again in a few weeks when we know a bit more.
Okay, thank you so much, Tom. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a real pleasure to talk to you.
Next year.
Absolutely. Definitely. Fantastic. Take care. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Bye.